Phil Jones e Tom Pelphrey.
Hey everyone.
So I'm going to start off by asking you guys, what do you think of Brazil so far?
I love it so far.
I know you just got here, but you get to see a little bit of the beach, right?
Yeah, unfortunately we've not gone down to the beach yet. I think we're going to maybe try and do it after this.
Yeah, a little beach trip.
It's been great, it's been really nice. Everyone's like super passionate, very friendly. Great weather here as well, which is awesome. The food, we went and had food at this local restaurant last night. Very, very tasty. Yeah, I love Brazil. I love South America in general. Such a good vibe down there.
Awesome. Be careful of the sun though, because it's
hot, right? Hot sauce.
So I'm going to start with the questions from the audience. I have them here with me. They're going to raise their hands to show you who they are. First question is very straightforward here. After the Defenders, are we going to see Iron Fist in a second season? Who asked that question?
Oh, I mean, I think so. Nothing official's been said yet, but I mean, Danny's journey is only just beginning, so it feels really weird to kind of cut it off so short. So I definitely think we're going to see Danny Rand come back at some point for sure, but nothing's official yet. So.
How about Ward? Are we going to see him?
Yeah, we better. I mean, we better. I mean, damn, the dude stuck around to the end for a fucking reason, right? We better see him in the season 2.
I have a question about the uniform. Are we going to see Iron Fist with the original uniform at some point?
Oh, the costume.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps we might see some incarnation of a costume towards the end of Defenders, maybe. You know, Danny's on a journey to become a superhero. Throughout the first season of Iron Fist, I don't even think he actually understands or knows what a superhero is, let alone who he is himself. So he's on this journey of discovery, and I think by the end of Defenders, he fully understands what his purpose is, and I think moving forward, we're definitely going to see Danny Rand kind of take the Iron Fist responsibilities more seriously, and yeah, I think that will kind of lead some form of I guess you can see that.
Yeah, it's an identity, right? Because it's going to be his identity with
the
real uniform.
Yeah, he needs to kind of master his identity, you know, because he's well known. So.
And weird question. I don't think you know actually this. Are we going to see the Defenders in Infinity War?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
I don't think so. The problem is the filming schedules are so different from television and film, and so it'd be really difficult to try and make them work, just because the schedules are just very conflicting. I'd love to see I'd actually love to see the MCU thing come into the television world. I think that would be really interesting to see, like Doctor Strange come into Iron Fist, or Captain America going into Jessica Jones. I think that'd be super interesting. Kind of bring these movie superheroes and ground them in a television reality.
And
yeah, I agree. I think Ward should date Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow, right? I mean, it only makes sense.
And Tom, you had a really rough first season. How was that for you to shoot that, to get in that mode?
Yeah, well, I mean, as an actor, you love that opportunity, which was one of the things that made me so excited to get to play Ward. I will say, though, there was a certain point in there around episode 6, 7, 8, where we're dealing with a lot of the heavy use of drugs and the idea of withdrawals, and I wanted to, you would be pretty sweaty. So I wanted to be able to be sweaty without having to constantly spray me with water, which would actually cool me down. So I started wearing, when you film outside in the winter, you do this layer of clothing it's like long johns, it's super thin, but it heats up your body. So I started wearing that underneath all my costumes when I was on set. So like, the sets are a little bit warm sometimes anyway. So I was just jacking myself up, so gushing sweat. I mean, sometimes you can actually see on the show where the pig that I am, the sweat has actually come through like the back of my suit. That's real.
That's real sweat?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're really committed.
Yeah.
And I have another question for you from Nerdeste. There we go. How was it to do the character, Ward's character, that in his opinion has the best development arc of the entire series?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. You know, it's every actor, for me anyway, that's exactly what you're looking for when you take any job. You know, regardless of anything else, that you get a chance to really explore a character, and that the writers are honoring that this is a, you know, a three-dimensional human being. You know, that I think Ward starts out in very difficult circumstances, and that he's using drugs and things to try and balance his behavior, and everything's kind of impossible, and then Danny comes back, and it really upsets the balance, and Ward kind of goes off the deep end, and Harold emerges, and all the secrets and all the skeletons are coming out of the closet, and we get to see this guy fall apart. But through it all, which is probably the most important thing, through it all, there's a through line, which is that Ward really loves his sister Joy more than anything, and I think you can watch the show and trace that through line through everything he does, through every episode, through every scene. So for me as the actor, the answer is I love that. I mean, you live for that. To get to explore such different dynamics inside the character is really the most exciting thing, you know, and challenging for sure. And the other half to that answer is you're very grateful that the writers give you that opportunity and that they honor the character the whole way through, right? Because TV is kind of like jumping off a cliff a little bit for the actors. We get a few scripts and then we don't know what's going to happen, so you have to trust.
And still a question from him. What do you have of Danny Rand, and what does Danny Rand have of Finn Jones?
I guess there's quite a few similarities between the two of us, probably more so than I'd like to admit. I guess me and Danny share the same kind of like enduring optimism, even when times can be a bit rough and the odds are stacked against us. I think we both have the trait to kind of see the light through the darkness, which I find quite commendable with the character. I also think we share quite the same vulnerabilities and insecurities as well. I really put those into the role. Yeah, there's quite a few things actually.
And can you talk about your training? How was it? How did you get so good at fighting?
Well, I have a really good stunt double, David Armstrong. I've got to give kind of props to him as well, because you know he works super hard. But yeah, I actually didn't have a lot of time. I had 3 weeks before we started filming, so I was in the dojo as much as I could, learning technique, learning form. And then once the show started, it was really just kind of learning on the job, just picking it up as I go along.
You're really good with the moves, like the subtle moves of
Tai Chi.
Yeah. How did you learn that? Because they're really like very well choreographed.
Tai Chi is mainly about breath, so you have to learn to be completely still and kind of at one with yourself and the environment around you. So really just trying to let go as much as possible and kind of connect to it, you know. So yeah, and then you know just breathe.
Can you talk a little bit about having that type of a father, of a controlling figure on set that do this, do that?
What a bastard.
Right?
What a bastard. Yeah, poor Ward. But the fun part was that you obviously saw the scenes that we filmed, but when you're not filming, David Wenham, the actor who plays Harold, is very, very, very funny. So it was great to be on set with him, because you'd have to film these scenes that are so intense, and sometimes these scenes, sometimes it's very long scenes, so we could be together filming for 8 hours straight in the same room. And so the intensity was released every time between filming with David's sense of humor, which was hilarious.
So there was a lot of jokes between you guys. To line up.
Constant jokes. Kind of like when he did the scene where he has to punch me, I was like, did they teach you to do that when you were training for the 300? I was like, it felt a little soft.
That's mean.
Oh,
what are the differences between working in Game of Thrones and Iron Fist for you? And working with Netflix and HBO? Here we go.
Is that like a... What is it? Oh, it's cute. What's the difference is, schedule's the real difference. So for an episode of Game of Thrones, I think we film an episode in like maybe 22 days, whereas with Iron Fist we shoot an hour of television in, was it 9 days? Yeah, 9 days. So it's half the time, which is crazy. And also, Game of Thrones is an ensemble piece, so you have many different actors kind of coming together to tell the story. Iron Fist has, what, maybe four or five, like, main characters throughout. So really the workload and the schedule is a lot more intense, it's a lot more go. What was the other question?
Oh, that
was it.
And I know that you went right through from Iron Fist to Defenders. I think you did too, but he's like the main character. How was that for you? Did you not get a break in between?
No, it was really intense. I finished filming 6 months of Iron Fist, and then I had a week off, and then I went straight to Defenders until last week. And then last week I went on an Asian press tour, and now I'm here in Brazil. So it's just been like, whoa, crazy. Yeah.
What were your biggest, what did you learn most while you two were filming Iron Fist? It's from Laís. Here we go.
What did we learn?
Yeah, while shooting it. Did you learn anything?
I learned about endurance. It was a real test of endurance. Just keep going through it and keeping the energy, keeping positive, keeping enthusiastic. What did you learn?
I learned why people pay $3,000 for a suit. I was like, oh shit. Now I get it, and now I'm spoiled for life.
He does wear good suits. Yeah.
Man.
Right?
Man, talk about ruin.
Yeah, and houses and the sets, the huge office set.
Yeah, the sets are incredible, especially Ward's kind of lair.
Yeah.
And the dojo as well. The dojo was so detailed, it was so down to the littlest thing.
Many people don't know, but they were built sets. They weren't
the offices.
places.
Yeah, the offices in Harold's apartment, which was massive. I mean, it was really beautiful. And they also, especially for the offices, they built them up to where the floor of the office was this high off the ground, and then the windows, so that if they wanted to, they could shoot the camera up to make it seem like they're shooting on the side of a building. Yeah, it's really great. They did a beautiful job of that.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
You told a funny story from set. Do you have a funny story from set?
I'm always terrible being put on the spot about funny stories. I don't really kind of keep them in my brain. No.
Okay.
I have, but they're just embarrassing, and I'm not going to repeat them. All right, I'm going to repeat it. Why not?
There you go.
Okay. So at the end of episode 2, when Danny finally breaks through the mental cell, and he runs towards the door and he does the Superman punch and punches through the door. As I was doing it, I was running down the corridor. I jumped up, I did the punch. As I landed the punch, I farted so big. I just did the biggest fart ever. And it was really embarrassing. It was like my heroic mistake. And I just let it rip.
It's a relaxing moment. Come on.
It's one of those protein shakes. Without protein, it really fucks with your gut. And I pretended like it didn't happen, but clearly, there was Greg the stunt guy. There was Greg the sound dude who definitely heard it.
I wish I was there for that.
Did you know that story? No,
I've never heard
first time hearing it.
Yeah.
It's a good story. You can tell it as many times. It's a good story.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Now I have to come back from that. Iron Fist and Luke Cage are very together on the comic books.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see any of that?
We're going to see so much of it.
Yeah?
And it's been it's been really fun working with Mike. Me and Mike have a really good energy together, both as buddies, as actors and friends on the set, but also as the characters. there's a really interesting thing happening with our characters. Like, we come from very different places in society, and when we come together, we kind of raise questions within each other, and we kind of like figure stuff out between them. We find stuff out about ourselves through kind of meeting each other, and it's fun as well. Like, we have a really fun, natural dynamic. Mike is super goofy. Like, he's super goofy, and he's just a lot of fun. We always sing and like, dance around and just act stupid on set. Yeah, it's fun.
And what can we expect from the future of Danny Rand?
I don't know.
Nothing?
Hopefully he'll just like get his shit together a little bit. You know, like he's a kid that's kind of wrought with trauma. He doesn't really understand his responsibility that well. I'd like to see him really kind of like, well, we do see in Defenders, we start to see Danny not so much as a lost soul, and really kind of takes his purpose and his mission a lot more seriously. And he grows up throughout the Defenders, and finding his team as well, like it really establishes him, it kind of centers him a lot more. And I think moving forward, I'd like to kind of see Danny embrace the superhero within him and become a protector of the city.
I have an interesting question here.
Because he fucked up with Kunlun, you know, I think he has to prove himself.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of guilt in him now, and he has to prove himself a lot, and that guilt kind of really drives him forward to kind of do the right thing. It's interesting.
I have two interesting questions actually. Kunlun wasn't really, we didn't really see Kunlun this season. Do you expect for us to see it at some point?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to go to Kunlun.
Did you see any like arts for it? Like
yeah, there was some art. Yeah, there was some art that I managed to get to see. Very green. I also did a lot of research, like created it in my own mind. So I pulled lots of images, a lot of ancient Tibet, ancient Tibetan villages I looked into, and I kind of had this big mood board in my kitchen at home, and I would just pin pictures of what I felt Kunlun was like. So whenever I was speaking about it, and whenever I referred to it, like it was a natural place in me, you know. And I felt
visualize it.
Yeah. So actually, that visualization, which is in me, is kind of more important to me than whatever the show does, because it's kind of what is in here that matters.
And season 1 had kind of like 2 villains. Do you guys want any villain for season 2? Like, have you thought about that?
Yeah, maybe it'll be Joy.
Joy seems like she's being set up to be baddie.
Yeah, I mean, that ending was a bit ominous.
Yeah.
And Davos as well.
Yeah,
I think Davos is going to turn out to be the big bad. And I like the fact that they set it up as like he was my friend first of all, so you see where that goes. So it's not just so black and white. You know, you understand the history and the brotherhood that is between us, but then you also understand the tension and, you know, why they can turn on each other.
So this is it, guys. I have to wrap it up, but they want to take some pictures. If you guys could just stand here in the front, please.
Obrigado.
I wish I was really Baratheon.